Hi, and welcome to another video in the RHCE video series. Today's video is on playbooks and plays. As you may be already aware, we've kind of covered playbooks quite a lot, but we never had the really terminology of what a play is actually. To describe what a play is, we need to go lower than that and talk about tasks and roles. And also handlers as well, actually. So a task is literally, the definition is a call to an Ansible module. So as we discussed previously, a module is a function within Ansible to do a specific task. So it might be a service module or a Yum module or something like that to do specific tasks. And so then you literally, specific task is why it's called a task. You also have, beside tasks, you also have pre-tasks, post-tasks, of course, because you can either run the task beforehand or after, depending on what you run. And then finally, a handler is to take the output of a task, or in this case a task, and apply another task potentially on it. So it might handle it if it's in a specific condition. So if it's not running, for example, a service not running, you can have a handler to then have it restart the service, as an example. And then you've got roles. A role is really a way to organize things. So you have generally it's like a specific type of server might have a role. So you might have these are the Tomcat servers, and they'll have their own file structure. And in there, you'll have tasks, handlers, files, and various templates, variables, and defaults, and that side of things. So you can have all different sub-DIRs or subdirectories, and in there you can have that to have specific tasks and roles and stuff like that to happen for this particular type of system. So then the role itself is not like a playbook. You can't actually call it on its own. It's more that it will use that to then, in the playbook, to then run specific actions depending on the role. So it makes the playbook less heavy, because you don't have to have every single kind of system counted in that one playbook. You'd actually just call out a specific role, and it will go and do the role specific stuff, and it may come back to that same master playbook in this case. So you've got the tasks, you've got pre-tasks, post-tasks, handlers, and then you've got the roles as well. And then you've got a play, and a play is a high level. So that task, it ties the task to the host list. So again, you've got that inventory file. That inventory file is then tied to the specific task, and then we have a play. And that's all it really is just a task linked to the host. So it's more the actual thing that's going to happen, and that's the play. And a playbook is just a list of plays. So it sometimes if you've got a single play in a playbook, it really is kind of just a play rather than a playbook. But I don't think you'll hear anyone say that. They'll just say playbook as the term. So yeah, that's all the different types. So what we'll do is there's a great actually GitHub location that has some quite good examples of pretty robust playbook examples with roles and stuff like that. And so I've actually gone and downloaded one of those to show you here today. So if you go in activities and then launch terminal, I will just sudo, because I think I've put it in a root directory. Me being lazy as always. Let's just go root. I think it might be just playbooks 101. Yep. Okay, so we've got the Ansible Examples master. Okay, so we've got all these different examples. We'll just clear the screen here and just do an ls minus -LHTRA. And then we've got these different ones. So we've got like WordPress on Nginx. We've got Windows. I think that's depreciated anyway. Tomcat's quite a nice, good example. Philips Hue, which is those, I think they're Pacific light bulbs. We've got some lamp, which is a Pacific stack of for what's the word? What are the words I'm looking for? Pacific stack for web developers. So it's like a simple setup that's got Linux and your database and all that sort of stuff, and all the web interface, etc., all pre-built. And you've got JBoss as well, which is like some Java application as well. MongoDB as well. That's all good. So I'm not sure what Rust module is, but yeah. The good one, I think a good example is Tomcat Standalone. So we're just going to Tomcat Standalone. And again, just do a clear to keep this at the top. And do it as so. We've got a few files in here. This is pretty much because it's from GitHub. You always have a README. You may have a license, depends. But let's have a look at the README. And it's just telling you how to run the playbook, a bit of information about the Ansible version and stuff like that, which is quite nice. But it's essentially what this playbook will do: deploy a very basic implementation of a Tomcat application server. So you've got to have the inventory files to what you want. So let's look a bit more about the structure. So we've got that site.yaml, which is that's the one they said to mention to execute. We have a file called hosts. We've got a folder called group vars or group variables, and we've got that roles directory I talked about earlier. So let's go into the roles directory, and we've got two roles. So we've got a Tomcat role and we've got an SE Linux role. So you can see they're quite two different things. So Tomcat being the web service, and then SE Linux being obviously the security around Linux itself, so security enhanced Linux. So if you go in cd Tomcat and just do an ls on there, we've got files, handlers, tasks, and templates. So what I'll do now is just print them all out. Just do a capital R, so we'll get the directories under there. So we've got files, we've got an actual specific script. So that can be obviously a script as in file. We've got a handler, so we've got a main.yaml handler. We can have a look at that in a minute. We've got a specific task, and again, they've just called it main.yaml because it needs to be that for it to be able to call it. So if it's in this folder structure, it needs to be main.yaml so it knows where to get. And we've also got some templates. So templates may be, templates are, not maybe, templates are templates for the files that are going to be pushed across. So there will be IP tables. We've got server.xml and Tomcat users.xml. So there'll be XML files for Tomcat itself, and IP tables is the firewall. This probably won't work on Linux version 8, but either way, it's a good example. Because we've got IP tables, I don't think IP tables is installed by default anymore. It's firewall D, but that's all good. We can. It's more for an example rather than actually executing it. I'll try executing it and we'll see what happens anyway. But we probably have to do quite a considerable bit of editing to get this to work. So let's not bother with that. So let's go and have a look at the handler main.yaml. So we'll just do a clear screen again, and we'll just do let's do a vim handler main.yaml. And so we've just got two handlers in here. So one is restarting Tomcat and the other one is restarting IP tables. Simple as that. And the other one was tasks, and then we had main.yaml. And in tasks, you're going to see a lot more in here. So we can see it's calling the module yum quite a few times. So it's installing Java 1.7. Obviously, that's required for Tomcat. We can see it's adding a new system group. We've got new users being added. We can see it's actually going to go download Tomcat from a specific location. You can see it's going to extract the archive, and we can see it's got a specific command. It's going to change the R to user share. It's going to use bin tar and then extract this file, and we're going to extract it to C opt, and it's going to create opt Apache cache version. So this is the directory it's going to create. We're going to symlink to the directory. That's all good. We're going to change the ownership of the Tomcat installation. We're going to make sure it's owned by the Tomcat user. We're going to configure the Tomcat server. So we've got that template I mentioned earlier. So source server.xml, and the destination is user share tomcat conf. We're then going to restart Tomcat. We're going to configure the Tomcat users. We're going to install the Tomcat init initialization script or init script. We're going to then start Tomcat. We're going to deploy this IP tables rules. This will not work. Oh, it's got a firewall D. So let's make, oh, very nice. So it's looking for Red Hat version 7. So let's try and change this to 8. This may fix it. And then change it for 8 as well here. Let's see. We will see if this works. It may be a very quick fix. Let's see. And or it may or may not work. We shall find out. Okay, so we've got the tasks main. We've got the files. We don't need to worry too much about that. We've got the templates. We don't need to worry much about that. Let's go upper file and SE Linux. I'm not really too worried about. We can have a look in SE Linux. Let's just do in ls-lr SC Linux downwards. So we've just got single task, which is main.yaml again. Whoops. Let's do SC Linux and then tasks main.yaml, and we can see, oh, that's a good point. I need to do that then. So we've got download install EPEL, which is that specific repository, and we don't have one for, I'm not too worried if it doesn't have it. I think we can just comment these out. We shall see. I'll give that a run anyway, and let's see how it fails first. So that's all the roles, and then all we've got in the top level directory is the group vars. Let's have a look at group vars. I'll just do a clear to. I just got Tomcat servers. Let's have a look what's in here. Yep, so we can see an admin password. So that's why they've set it in a specific variable, because then we can change these things quite easily without having to go and look for 1,000 different files and try and find where these are set. We'll leave that as default for now, but yeah, I will show you later how to protect these kind of files within an Ansible playbook, but for now we'll leave it as it is and set the password as that amazing password of admin secret, oops, which you're never going to guess ever. Okay, so go back up and let's do a clear. Let's just do str8. So what we got host file, and we just got web server 1, and we had client 1. Let me just, I don't think I can ping client 1. I don't think I'd have it as a entry in my host file. Nope. Okay, so let's go get it. mv dash again, and we're going to go to inventory 101, and then inventory, just do a cp. Actually, I don't want to lose it. cp and then end, and then just put it into hosts here. Yes, and then we're going to vim hosts, and we're going to delete this stuff. So we're just going to have a single client. Oops. And finally, so we've cleaned all that up. Okay, so that's nice and clean. Now let's just have a look at the site.yaml. This playbook deploys a simple standalone Tomcat 7 server. We've got hosts. Okay, so I need to make the host Tomcat server, or just set host all. Let's be lazy. Or you can see the remote user is root. So it's going to call the root user. It's going to become the user, yes. So it's going to take the user's privileges, and if it needs to, it'll do a sudo to make sure it gets that role. And we have 2 roles defined, so we can see SC Linux and Tomcat. So all that's going to do is then look for that roles folder, and then it's going to look for the SC Linux folder, and it's going to look for the Tomcat folder. So let's see if this magic happens. So we're going to run it now. So Ansible -playbook -i hosts site.yaml. And then we wait to see what happens. It's going to take a few minutes, this one, because it's quite complex and it's obviously doing a lot of things. So it's gathered the facts, it's skipped the EPEL repo. I'm not sure, 100% sure if it's installed or not. Let's see. Okay, so it's saying it failed to install the package, which is libselinux python. So I think probably it's because that EPEL repo is not installed on the server. So let me let's just get the so let's do a DNF repo list, see what repos we've got registered. Okay, yep, I don't have the EPL. Let me go and grab the URL for that. So we'll go back to the Ansible server and we're going to modify that. I think it was the SE Linux main role. So we go by VIM. Okay, let's remember where the directory was. So it was roles, SE Linux, task main, and we've got all these entries for the different versions. Let's do a Y11 YY and P. Okay, so we've got all this stuff at the bottom. Just delete all that. Okay, so now we're going to make some modifications to get 8. This URL needs to change. So get URL, and hopefully this is copied. Yep. Okay, so we've got the URL and we're going to put it to 8. And we're going to change this version to 8. And then we're going to install EPL for 8 and change this to 8. And Ansible iOS version is 8. And then we're going to install libselinux python. Thankfully, the yum module still works for this, so it's great. That looks all right. I think I've got everything correct. Let's now give this a go again. Hey, it's changed. It's a good sign. Yeah, it's moaning about I'm using RPM, which is fine because that's what the package is doing. So, but that's fine. So it's installed the EPL repo, which is fantastic. It's now then going to install the libselinux python package. Okay, so it failed to install, so I'm going to pick it filtered out. So all matches were filtered out. So let me go and have a look at that. So once we've got the failure, let's have a look at the client. Let's do a DNF search. What was it? SE Linux Python or Python SE Linux? libselinux. libselinux. Whoops. Linux. So let's see what packages come up. So libselinux. So the only one I've got related to Python is this. So we can try it. Yeah, but it doesn't look good. Python 3. Hopefully that works. It looks like with Red Hat 8, we may have a different version. We can try. Let's see. So let me just update that. So that's, I think it was in the site. No, it wasn't. Let's go right back to the original file. And we're going to have to change this line here. I could fix it for all of them, but I'm going to be lazy and not do that. That's fine. Okay, let's try that again. So clear and execute the same. Seems to be thinking about it. I can only presume that's a good thing. Yep. Let's try and install Java now. Let's see. That would be interesting as well, because I think that was going to a specific location to try and download it. Yes. Okay, so there's another failure. So that's trying to install Java for the Tomcat role. So that's going to be interesting. Let's go and have a look at that now. So It looks like it's certainly not a perfect solution for newer servers, but this is all part of the fun, right? So let's go roles, Tomcat, and it'll be, I think it was tasks and then main. Yep. And we did have one here, so probably as right at the top, from I remember, install Java. So we're looking for Java 1.70 OpenJDK. So let's go and do a DNF search OpenJDK. Wow, we got a lot. We have, okay, I think that one was the one. So that one looks good. So it's actually Java 1.80 now. That's fine. So let's go back into that and update the same. Next one, interesting one, will be this link is actually going to go somewhere, but we'll soon find out. So do a clear again, and let's run this script once again. Immediately, a lot of stuff should sail on through a bit quicker now because the packages should be already installed. Cool. So far so good. And HTTP port is undefined. Ansible undefined variable. Okay. So let's go and have a look at the variables. That's probably because I changed that direct. Okay. Let's have a look at the group files. Yes, okay, because it's got the Tomcat servers group. God damn it. Okay, so that's because I've modified that name. So it's, so let's copy the name. It really wants that specific name, so let's give it that. So make sure it's in that group. So hosts, let's go fix that. And right quit, and then just update site.yaml, and we'll do hosts, and then Tomcat servers. Okay, and then we run the command again. Here. Okay, so this should be a lot quicker now because we're getting a bit further along. But this is pretty much how we do troubleshooting as part of a playbook. Really, you see all these different tasks. You've got this bit of information again, which tells you which role it's currently acting in. So we can see it's the SE Linux role, and then we're going to go. This is just Tomcat roles here. We're adding groups, users, downloading Tomcat. We're symlinking. We're changing the ownership. We're configuring the Tomcat server. We're configuring the Tomcat users. We're installing the init script. We're starting Tomcat. I've got everything crossed. It's looking quite good. It's changed the firewall D rules. It's waiting for Tomcat D to start. It's okay. And it's restarting Tomcat. Let's see. And it's run. And it's completed. So, wow, that looks like it's completely worked. We've got a play recap at the bottom to say client 1 is our client is run it on. We've got an OK of 19, so the things that didn't actually happen. Need anything changed, so it's correct. And it's got change 7. We've got no unreachable, we've got no failed tasks. We've got 5 skipped tasks because they may have specific requirements, like it's a specific version of Red Hat Enterprise Linux. Rescued if you had to rescue task, and then ignored if it's something that's been completely ignored. So wow, that looks pretty good. Let's go and have a look at our group files again for Tomcat servers. So the port was 8080. Okay, let's see if that magic works. It was 10.0.2.8 and then 8080. And when we go to that page, we've got Apache Tomcat homepage, which looks fantastic. So yeah, that completes the video. Really, that's just a a quick example of how Ansible can be used, and especially with things like roles, and just a bit more about playbooks and plays. As always, I hope the video has been useful to you. Thanks again for watching. So that concludes the video. As always, I've popped on the screen now my Ko-fi page. That's a great place to donate if that's something you're interested in, to help support this channel. Also, I've put the TeePublic page for any merchandise I've got. So I've got a few t-shirts and stuff like that, if that's anything you're interested in. And finally, I've put my Discord server details, as well as in description for these things, details, so you can chat there. I'll try and answer questions when I've got a spare few minutes, and try and help you out where I can. Thank you.